Assalamu alaikum. Today on Noran Academy, we discuss the legacy of the Andalusian scholar Ibn Rushd. If you benefit, please support by subscribing and sharing as a sadaqah.
Truth does not contradict truth. With this one simple but incredibly powerful idea, Ibn Rushd really challenged his world. He wanted people to see divine revelation and human reason not as enemies, but as two clear pathways leading to the exact same ultimate reality. And really, that single principle was the guide for his entire life's work. So, to truly understand the man, we first have to understand his world, the brilliant intellectual landscape of Al-Andalus. Okay, so let's start our journey in Al-Andalus, or Muslim Spain, which was at the time just this radiant center of learning and culture. It's into this world of light and knowledge that Ibn Rushd was born. Now, Ibn Rushd wasn't some isolated academic, locked away in a tower. Not at all. As a chief judge, a court physician, and a master of the Islamic sciences, he was a central pillar of his community, deeply involved in the day-to-day affairs of life. And it was this holistic worldview, this idea that law, medicine, and philosophy were all in service to the community, that led him to his most foundational principle, the harmony of all truths. So, at the very heart of his work was this powerful theological principle: truth is one because its source is one. He argued that you don't have two competing truths, one from revelation and another from reason. No, instead, there's just a single reality, and we can get to it through different but complementary pathways. Ibn Rushd's logic was that since both revelation and reason come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, any apparent contradiction we see is really just a failure of our own human understanding. It's not a flaw in the truth itself. And this revolutionary idea, well, it would soon travel far, far beyond the borders of Al-Andalus. So, to put this principle into practice, Ibn Rushd took on his most influential project, writing a meticulous commentary on the works of Aristotle. See, he believed that the powerful tools of Greek logic weren't a threat to faith. Instead, he saw them as a God-given means to better understand creation, and he wanted to make them accessible to a Muslim audience. And what happens next is this incredible journey of ideas. His commentaries were translated from Arabic into Latin and Hebrew, carrying the light of reason across all sorts of cultural and religious divides. His explanations of Aristotle were so clear, so profound, that they actually became foundational texts in the new universities popping up all over Europe. In Europe's brand new universities, he became known simply as the commentator. That's it. His work was a cornerstone of their entire curriculum. But this journey of preservation also reveals a pretty profound historical irony. So, just as his work was helping to spark a renaissance of classical thought in Europe, the intellectual climate back in his own homeland was shifting. Because of political turmoil, in the very place his books were written, the pursuit of philosophy started facing new and really difficult challenges. This whole dynamic really highlights how important it is to preserve and transmit knowledge through different times and places. It just goes to show that valuable ideas will always find a home. But it does raise a question: was all this intellectual work separate from his faith? For Ibn Rushd, the pursuit of knowledge was never separate from faith. In fact, he saw it as one of the highest expressions of it, which makes us ask a pretty profound question. Is deep thinking itself an act of worship? And the answer, which he found rooted in the Quran itself, is an unequivocal yes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala repeatedly calls on us to reflect, to ponder, to use our intellect to observe the signs in the heavens and the earth. For Ibn Rushd, this was a direct divine command. So he argued that a sound intellect, when it's guided by revelation, is an incredibly powerful tool for strengthening one's faith. Studying the intricate design of the universe isn't just a scientific exercise, it is an act of ibadah, of worship. It's a path to witnessing the perfection of the Creator's work, which in turn deepens our certainty and our iman. And this leads to his most inspiring and timeless conclusion. Far from being in conflict, he saw this powerful synergy between belief and intellect, which is just summarized perfectly in this statement. This is really Ibn Rushd's ultimate legacy. The conviction that a profound faith isn't a barrier to reason, but actually its greatest foundation. It gives us the confidence and the clarity to explore all of creation without any fear. In a world that so often tries to pit science against religion, his call for harmony, for unity, feels more urgent than ever. Presented and created by Norin Studio.